Example 1, Jackson's birdhouses. Jackson and his grandfather constructed a model for a birdhouse. Many of their neighbors offered to buy the birdhouses. Jackson decided that building birdhouses could help him earn money for his summer camp, but he is not sure how long it will take him to finish all of the requests for birdhouses. Assume Jackson works at a constant rate and can build 7 birdhouses in 5 hours. Doesn't matter which variable is the independent and dependent variable. So we look at this example. Our question is, does it matter if it's birdhouses depend on time, or would it be time depends on birdhouses? So a lot of times when we're looking at what is our independent and dependent, there's a set way, like we know we can't split an egg in half, so it has to be something per egg. But like for this one, it kind of depends on what we're wanting to find. We could find birdhouses depending on time, so we know how much time that we're going to have, or how much time we need depends on how many birdhouses we're going to make. So this one, I think it could go either way. So for this problem, it doesn't matter. It will depend on what you are wanting to find. All right, so what is this question asking you to find? What should we use as the independent and dependent variable for the problem? So if we go back to our problem, we are, let's see, he's not sure how long it will take. So if we don't know how long, that's going to be what it depends. That's going to be our dependent. So how long it takes will depend on how many birdhouses we are going to make. So time is what we don't know. So we're going to do time per birdhouse. Now, when we look at these, this is our dependent to our independent. If we think about that graph, our x and our y, remember we can put the I on the x-axis and our d on our y-axis. So y to x. Okay. Write an equation that you could use to find how long it will take him to build any number of birdhouses. So I'm going to write my ratio again. So time per birdhouse. This is my y to my x. And if I go back to my first problem, right here it says he makes 7 birdhouses in 5 hours. So 7 birdhouses in 5 hours. So this would be our k value. Now remember our general form of our equation, y equals k times x. So our equation would be y equals 5/7 times x. How many birdhouses can Jackson build in 40 hours? All right, so I'm going to write my ratio just so I know what it is. Time times birdhouses, so y and x, and my equation was y equals 5/7 times x. So I know I have 40 hours. So if I go to 40 hours, that would be time. So in this case, my y is equal to 40. So I'm going to substitute this 40 in for this y here. So we have 40 equals 5/7 times x. All right, so we don't know what to multiply by, so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to take this times 7/5 and do the same thing on the other side. Make that look like a fraction too. All right, so I like to simplify before I multiply. If you get confused by this step, go ahead and multiply out, and then you can simplify at the end. So I know 5 goes into both 5 and 40, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 5, which gives me 1, and 40 divided by 5 is 8. So I'm just doing that last step first, the simplification, before I multiply. 7 times 8 is 56, and 1 times 1 is 1. And then over here, we get 35 over 35, which turns into a 1. So I know that he can build 56 bird houses. All right. Use your equation to figure out how long it will take Jackson to build 35 birdhouses. Okay, so time over birdhouses. And my equation. All right, so we know he's building 35 birdhouses, which is my x value. So x is equal to 35. So I'm going to take this 35 and substitute it in for x. 35, let's go ahead and make that look like a fraction as well. Again, I'm going to simplify before I multiply. I know both of these are divisible by 7. Gives me a 1. Leaves me with 5. Now I can multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. And 1 times 1 is 1. So it would take him 25 hours. Yeah. These papers don't want to come apart. There we go. All right, use your equation to figure out how long it will take him to build 71 birdhouses. So again, this is almost just like the last one. We just have a different amount. Setting up my information that I know. All right, so I'm building 71 birdhouses, so that's my x. Times 71 over 1. Now I can't simplify these, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply straight across. So 5 times 71 is 355 over 7. If I divide this out, we get y equals 50.7. So it would take him 50 hours and 7/10 of an hour. So if I want to change this to minutes, I would need to take 7/10 times 60 minutes, which when we multiply this, that would give us 42 minutes. You could go ahead and say 50.7 hours, and that would be okay as well. So 50 hours and 42 minutes, or 50.7 hours.